The Regents podcast. The Regents podcast. Welcome back to the Regents podcast. I'm Ellen.
And I am Aja. Welcome.
And we're two best friends who quit our jobs to pursue our passions, documenting it with a podcast.
Hence why you are here.
That's probably what brought you here, not the conversation I'm about to talk about, which is my Wi-Fi keeps going out.
Oh, gosh.
So they're doing construction where I live, tons of it.
Okay.
And they're like wiring the hallway. Like a couple episodes ago, I think you remember, I was like worked
Freaking
up.
out. Yes. Worked up.
I was like slightly off, and you're like having a meltdown.
No, you were right. Exactly. It was a nervous breakdown.
I literally couldn't function. Like you saw, it was just like, this is like Ellen, like that.
Man.
It was literally felt like my brain was just like scrambled. I couldn't function.
That's how it came across.
Yeah. You know what's crazy though is that like, what's crazy though is that I feel like I'm like, I usually like keep a lid on like the insanity. Like I say crazy things and I'm funny, but like when you literally can see, like I'm like, I felt like my eyes couldn't even focus. I was losing it.
Oh my goodness. You were just like, oh God, oh no. Oh.
You're like,
my Lanta. When my Lanta keeps coming after then you know something's off.
It's so true.
Oh man.
Like one too many oh my Lantas. You're
right.
like, she's not well.
This is no longer a joke.
Like someone call health and safety, literally. Someone's like doing wellness check.
Where's the RA in her apartment complex? Oh man.
My God. Can I another tangent? I walked past like a community patrol car over by the beach, and I was like, oh, so grown up RAs. Okay, cool. Like, how do you get that job? I was like, he was just sitting there, I'm sure, like watching a YouTube video or listening to a podcast.
Of course. Just driving a company vehicle.
Yeah, literally. I was like, wow, that sounds like a sweet gig.
That's like the job that Issa Rae had in Insecure.
Right? Really?
Yeah. She was like, I don't know if she had to do like facility stuff or whatever. Maybe she was considered like a property.
She was like a property manager. Oh yeah. Yes.
Right? Yeah.
That's so true. Yeah. She has to deal with the shit,
with all the crazy nonsense.
We have like security here on my complex, and they drive around on golf carts, and I'm like, I'm here all day anyway. Like, how do I get on the payroll?
Right. Exactly.
I'm like, I would happily
get my
drive
rent
around.
Paid.
Exactly. I'm like, you pay my rent, and I will drive around on a little golf cart.
No problem. Uploading TikTok videos from the golf cart.
Literally. No and you know problem. What? I have a vested interest in the safety of this community because I live here. I feel like the guys, they don't care as much. Right. They're just like, driving around like whatever. And I'm like, dude, someone just hopped the fence into the property. I'm like, shouldn't we like call the police? I'm like, do something. I'm like, don't call the police. I don't want the police here either. But, I'm like, I don't know, go up to them and just be like, yo, don't do that.
Well, is that what you would do in this job?
If I had all of the equipment that I needed on my little cart.
Okay. Then you would feel confident.
I would do a drive-by like, yo, don't do that again. And I'd keep going.
Keep going.
Like, don't catch me. You can't catch up to me.
Right. In the slow golf cart.
I'd be like turbo. I'd be like, we gotta go.
20 miles per hour. Okay.
Imagine like trying to race away from someone in a golf cart.
Gosh. Just like, and they're looking at you like, girl.
Crazy.
I'm already right next to you.
So much is going on in this complex. Like, I'm like, thank the Lord it's actually quiet right now, but I don't want to speak too soon because, they'll probably start doing something.
Yeah.
But so what has happened is I have the Wi-Fi guy, the Spectrum person, whoever it may be, coming today because my Wi-Fi has gone out twice now, last week and this week. And, I've had like some connection issues here. And I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And I think it's the construction that happened in my hallway. Remember I had to leave and be out of the house for like a whole day? So they're doing like wiring and stuff, and I think they like
Oh, they cut the
messed up.
wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they like blue wire, red wire. I think they cut the wrong wire or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Exactly, because I was on the
probably.
phone with Spectrum and they were like, "Oh, something about like the connection." I'm like, "How do you see this from where you are? I don't have my Wi-Fi is not working. How can you tell
Right.
anything?"
Well, Ellen, they have systems in place.
I know, but like I don't understand how any of that works, and I'm just like in my mind, I'm like, I just feel like
How
without Wi-Fi, I feel
lost.
so lost, Asha.
Yeah. No, I
Lost.
get it. I
Do you
totally
know how
get
long
it.
it takes to upload a video to TikTok and Instagram when you don't have Wi-Fi?
On data? Like you're
Yes.
uploading on data. Ooh.
Yes. Well, I have unlimited.
I know, but still, I'm just saying, like that's a lot.
Horrible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Literally, I just feel like I've been just sitting, being like woo-sawing through it,
Right.
you
And first
know?
of all, it takes up a lot of juice. Like,
Ugh.
so you just, I feel like you can't do anything else.
I had to hotspot my laptop so I could do my Netflix Bridgerton rewatch. So I had to
Oh,
record from
wow.
my phone, hotspot to my laptop. I'm like, I am literally like
Sucking all that I
sucking
can.
all the juice from everywhere. I was like, this is like the most inefficient way to operate.
Right, right.
Ay,
Oh
ay, ay.
boy.
Yes, that's what's been
Well,
going on around here. So it's like I have the person coming at like 3 today.
do you actually have a watch on? What you just looked at? So,
I have it at half past beauty mark. They're
okay.
coming half past the beauty mark.
Got it. It'll be
Dude,
there
I
right
have
on
a
time.
scar. I have a scar here
Uh-huh.
from high school.
Okay.
I remember this. I remember getting this cut, being like, that, what? I was carrying a binder and it was like a piece of loose leaf. And it
Oh,
just kind of like sliced, like
a
paper cut,
paper
like,
cut?
but like the back of my forearm right here.
Yeah. Mhm.
And there's still like a very faint like line from it. Because the reason why I remember is because
Interesting.
it like bled. And I was like,
What kind of paper?
yeah, like that's what I meant. I was just so shocked by like it was just a paper cup and I was like actually bleeding, like had to get a band-aid from the nurse type thing. And I
Wow.
just never forget it. I was just kind of like, what kind of paper is this? My God.
That has sliced me up.
Literally. So now every time I like look down and I see it, it kind of makes me laugh because I just remember
Right.
like the
Because it's such a
ridiculousness.
silly, right, right.
So silly. Oh my
Oh,
Lanta.
wow.
So what's going on
Oh.
with you? How's your Wi-Fi?
My Wi-Fi is pretty solid. Thank God. So no interruptions here.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, my data is not.
Oh
I have
no.
T-Mobile. Yeah, I'm having a lot of issues on calls
Uh-oh.
and everything. So I literally have to be on Wi-Fi calling. My Wi-Fi is working
Oh.
so good that I can be on Wi-Fi calling.
Okay, don't rub it in. All right. Okay.
But you have data strong enough to
That's
upload
right.
to
That's right.
YouTube.
Oh, please.
Meanwhile, I'm like, if I'm not on Wi Fi calling at home, mind you, I feel like if I'm out in the world, it's a little bit better. But at
Yeah.
home, oh my gosh, I'm just like, hello, hello, can you hear me?
Oh,
It is ridiculous. And I don't know what's going on. I switched my SIM card. So, connectivity issues.
oh, it's crazy
We
that
just
it's
need to be
so
connected to a higher power. And that way,
you're like, "Hello, Lord, can you fix this?
God, please.
Please, God, fix my
I just
connectivity.
want connection,
I
alignment.
wanna upload I wanna upload to your word as well as be
Upload.
able to say my
Exactly.
own words."
Absolutely. Yeah. So those are real
It's, like,
issues.
debilitating, like, not I was talking with the woman
It
on the
is.
spectrum and, the call for Wi-Fi, and we were just talking, I was like, "Literally everything is on the internet." I can't
Everything.
even, because I have Kindle, like a Kindle,
Oh
so,
yeah.
like, my books so, like, the thing you would do if you didn't have
Didn't
power,
have
didn't have a connection, it's all on my Kindle. So I'm
oh
like, unless I have something previously downloaded,
right.
I wouldn't be able to
I can't
download a
even
new
read.
book. Yeah,
Right, right. It's
and, like,
crazy.
I'm like a fan I don't know about you, you tell me. I'm a fan of Kindle. I'm not a fan of, like,
Mm.
like, I'll read paperbacks and hardcovers, whatever, like, I'll read any book, but
Uh-huh.
I prefer, if I'm gonna be buying books, to have it on my Kindle, just because I've moved
You
so much
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
moving books is it
That's a
gets to be
lot.
a bit,
That's
yeah,
a
especially
lot.
traveling too, like, if you're going
For
somewhere and
sure.
you wanna pack, like, 2 or 3 books for, like, a beach vacation.
I'm so happy we're talking about this because I legit, I legit had this behind me, people, is a bookcase full of books. Okay. I have mad books. And I love the act of reading, like from a
Yeah.
tangible book. However, I also love reading from a Kindle as long as, so I guess, are all Kindles the kind that are like glare free? They have that like
Yeah, I think
matte
now,
look.
I mean, mine's so
Okay.
old that, like, yeah,
It
it's
had to
matte.
be. I didn't
Yeah,
have a choice.
yeah.
Okay. But I was thinking about that too. I'm just like, when I do travel, if I'm reading from like two books, I'll just like swap between books on different days, whatever. It's like, that's annoying and it's taking up space because I have, two thick paperbacks or
Yeah.
hardcovers. I thought about a Kindle, but then that's just like another thing. I love my iPad, the only Apple product that I have, but I don't have any like books on there. I probably have like two books I've gotten off of Amazon,
You could,
but
download the Kindle app. I don't know if there's a Kindle app for iPad. I would assume there is,
probably, yeah, yeah.
because I have the Kindle app on my phone too.
Okay,
So, like, I only pull out the Kindle when I'm, like, outside.
okay, gotcha.
In the house, for the most part, I'll say I read on my phone just because it's, like, easier for me
Mm,
to go between everything, and then I'm just, like, on my phone.
yeah.
Um, and I'm lazy and I don't
Mm.
go pick up my Kindle from across the room.
I'm
Um,
already in the bed. Why would
yeah,
you
no,
pick up?
literally, I'm already in the bed, let me just read a couple pages.
That's it.
Um, but yeah, with my
Mm.
Kindle, like, that's like, I'm on the beach for, like, hours,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's Kindle.
See, no, this is like a real thing because also I was looking at this thing talking about like your bedtime routine and how you
Yeah,
should try to be screen free. And I try that, but it's hard, okay?
it is hard.
It's really, really hard. But because like even we talked about this offline, like I like to do when it comes to games, I'm not playing like the fun games. I'm playing nerd games. I
What do
like
you classify as a nerd game?
I like Sudoku. I
That's
like
yeah.
Wordle. I
I do
like
Wordle at night.
Connections at
Yeah,
night.
same.
Yes.
That's what I do, I do it
Words
at
with
night.
Friends.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
those are my types of games. But I'm like, that's on the screen. And I'm
Yeah,
like trying to whatever. And sure, but I can't read at night, like in the bed, especially. Like
okay.
I'm going to sleep. So I read actually first thing in the morning. But I
Mm,
like the idea of like if I had something that wasn't like with a blue light in the back, you know what I mean? That I could read off of. I would prefer that. So,
the
is
hummingbirds.
everything okay?
The
Okay.
hummingbirds. You know how I feel about the
I
hummingbirds.
know. Unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
Who
I'm
doesn't like a
I'm
hummingbird? Oh.
I'm with you with it's tough at a for a nighttime routine
Mhm.
with the blue light and to turn everything off, like, and I'm curious what your nighttime routine is, because
Mhm.
I feel like I've really been working on adopting, like, my morning and my nighttime routines
Mhm.
as really, like, set,
Yeah.
because I was talking about this with my friend who I'm doing a little bit of personal coaching with, and
Mhm.
she was saying, she's like, "You seem so, like, proud of yourself by the end of your morning before you start working, because you've done all these things. You've had all these little
Right.
wins that make
Yes.
you feel good, that make you then want to continue with that ball rolling."
Mhm.
So my morning is, like, pretty, like, clear and
Set.
structured. So at night, I kind of have done a similar thing of, like, I walk Olive. While I'm walking her, I do my Duolingo, so I
Mhm.
never miss a day because I never miss walking her. And I come home, I brush
Yeah.
my teeth, I floss, I do my mouthwash, I wash my face. Like, I do every single one of these things is, like, I
Yeah.
brush Olive's teeth, like, everything is very, like, set and regimented. And
Mhm.
then I switch from, like, Duolingo to Wordle and Connections usually when I get into bed.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just like a way for my brain
To just
Like,
unwind.
yeah, Duolingo, Wordle, it's like I'm not thinking about my day, I'm not thinking about work, I'm not thinking about things
Right.
I have to get done. I'm
Yep.
just
I'm
unwinding.
just
So,
being.
I mean, it's like that's better than the blue light? Like, is the blue light worse than that? I don't know.
I don't know. I think
I have I have it set to, like,
the eye
nighttime
comfort
brightness.
shield.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's nighttime brightness.
I'm
The
doing the
orange
best I
light.
can.
Yes. No, legit. Because it's all that we have. Like our phones are literally, it's everything. Um, for my nighttime routine, and ditto to everything you said about the morning. That's how I
Yeah,
feel as well. My morning routine is I wake up, I read I'm doing this thing that I've never done before. This is the first time I've ever done it, reading the Bible in a year. I always do
okay,
like plans, but now I started this on January 1. But I'll start my day with that. So I'm reading my Bible plan. That takes about 20 to 30 minutes. Then I
okay.
read. Then I'll read for like 15 to 20 minutes
What
out
are
of
you
my
reading? Are
paper
you
book.
reading, like, funsies, or are you reading, like, personal
No, I'm
development?
personal development type stuff. Right
Okay,
now, I'm reading The Power of Intention, which I
okay,
love. And then after that, I go and I make up the bed. I'll put on my clothes and then I get ready to work out. Unless it's
okay.
Monday. Monday, I work out in the evening because I go to a class. But other than that, every morning is kind of like set.
Yeah.
Reading the Bible plan, workout, come back, shower, like get started for the day.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that there's, like, I mean, same, like, I just started incorporating it's I it's affirmations, but
Hmm.
I just sound like, affirmations, but it's like,
No, that's
I
good.
used to just get up and, like, be like, "Okay, I'm gonna walk Olive, and I'll listen to this, like, my Audible book," because it's like
Yeah.
a reward.
All
It's like a
right.
reward. I'll just if I get up and get out of the house and I do my long walk with Olive, because it's, like, usually, like, 5,000 steps,
Okay.
and I try to do
Nice.
that twice a day.
That's good.
Yeah, so I'm like, "Okay, I'll reward myself with a book," and I was like, "Hold the phone.
Hmm.
Let's incorporate some other things into this that are more personal development so that by the time that you finish all that, the reading of the book, the listening to the book is actually a reward."
Yeah.
So I've started incorporating, it's like 25 minutes of different types of, like, affirmation,
Mm.
self-confidence, self-love, like, success, affirmations, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Then there's a CNN has a podcast called Five Things, or it's
Oh,
literally
yes,
like,
I've heard about that. We've
yeah.
watched it on TV.
Oh, you did? Okay, yeah, it's
Yeah.
literally like 5 things you
Five
need to
things you
know
need to
today.
know for today. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I'm like, "Okay, the world's still burning, good
Got
to
it.
know." And then I do not let news into my life anymore.
Hmm.
I just can't. It's so
Hmm.
crushing and
Yeah.
overwhelming that I just at this point, I'm like, I know what's happening. I know what I do and how I contribute to try to make things better in the world, and,
Yes.
like, I'm not trying to perform any kind of allyship or perform any kind of anything on the internet. I don't
Hmm.
owe performance to anyone because
Yeah.
it gets overwhelming.
Can I say something? And I
Yes.
definitely want to get back to what we're talking about with the routines. I love that you said that because just yesterday, a part of what I read in The Power of Intention, it mentioned that our natural state is joy and peace.
Mm,
Like when we look at babies, they're just peaceful, joyful, unless they need food or sleep. That's it. But it
yeah.
mentioned that sometimes we'll feel guilty or whatever. Like, how can I be inspired or joyful or portraying this to the world when X is happening, Y is happening, and Z is happening? And it
Mhm.
was just like, you know what? When you're joyful, that brings more joy into the world. So I don't need to be always proving. And I feel like there is some type of societal pressures sometimes, like, why is she posting about this being all happy when this is going on? Like, how
Mhm.
dare he or she not say X about this, you know?
Mhm.
And it's heavy,
Yeah.
people, and we can't bear the weight of the world. And so, like, but if I'm joyful, then the people around me are joyful.
Mhm.
And you know what I mean? It's still putting good in the world. So I just wanted
100%.
to say that because
No,
that
I
really stuck out.
100% agree. It's like, with I mean, the fact that, like, everything that happened between Russia and Ukraine
Hmm.
happened and then continues to happen, and everything that's happening between Israel
Israel
and
and Palestine.
Palestine, Gaza, Hamas. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's so complicated. I listened to this
Yes.
podcast. It was like a 3-part, 3-hour podcast
Hmm.
by this actual like history teacher, like a grade school history teacher, middle school,
Okay.
who just is extremely passionate about like teaching world cultures and world history. And she had
Hmm.
just posted that 3-part series like a month before the attack in October.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so I was listening to it because I was like, I just there's so much I just like I want to get educated. And that's really like kind of the place I always come from. It's just like
Yes.
I just want to be
I
educated
just
about
want to
like
know.
what's going on,
Right. Exactly.
and like
Hmm.
there's just so much happening and there's so much pressure from everyone to feel like you have to do
You have
something, you
to
have to say something, you have to like show something. And
take a side and yeah.
I think that if you're somebody that has like a massive platform and you can help educate other people, that's my thing is like I would rather people use their voice to like bring awareness and
Hmm.
education to an issue. I'm not going to tell you how you should
How
or shouldn't
you,
feel about
yes.
something because I don't want you to tell me I should feel a certain way or I should be a certain way
Right,
because
right,
that's not
right.
what I'm about.
Yeah.
So it's like I understand that there are pressures for like public figures
Hmm.
to share, but it's also like depending on who they are, it's like I don't really
Why
particularly
do I care
care.
if Taylor Swift tells me about,
That's exactly it. And like I understand that there's people who follow them that like, believe their word is gospel and stuff, but like that
but it
in the
ain't,
scheme of life, like I don't really
it's
need to
not.
know like what nameless celebrity influencers opinion on these things are like,
Seriously.
you
Thank
know?
you. And that's the
So
problem right there. Whoever the person is, I don't care what celebrity, politician, influential person, whatever, their word isn't gospel,
exactly.
literally. So
And they're just
that's,
a person.
they're
So they've
just a
taken in
person
information just the way
with
that you or I
opinions.
can, and they have
Exactly.
opinions and they have data that they've collected through their life that colors the way that they perceive things. And
Right.
so it's like you just really have to do all of that for yourself. And I think that that's over the last couple of years, I kind of have been like, if what I can share is the fact that I listened to this podcast, it
Yeah.
gave me a good background on the thousands year history of what's
Thank
gone
you.
on. I mean, literally, like you're reading the Bible, like that's where the story of the issues of that region start.
Right. Yes.
Like I
And
don't
so
think
I'm,
people grasp how far back
talk
we're
about it.
going.
No,
Like,
literally. I'm reading the Bible and I'm like, oh my gosh, Gaza.
like
And so all of this is happening. It's pretty
literally.
wild. Yes,
So
indeed.
I just think that like if the best thing you can do is just share resources that you've consumed. Whatever people
Hmm.
take from that, that's for them to
They
take.
gotta
But
take it. Yeah.
because that's what I do, right? So I'll go and I'll walk, I'll go listen. But it's like if something's going on in the world, like okay, I'm just gonna listen to this podcast. It's called um, Wiser World, and
Okay.
this person she's she just does really interesting episodes. It's so easy to understand because she's an educator.
Hmm.
Um, so I mean, I highly recommend people listen to it. But that will take the place of like anything that I'm listening to if I'm like
Yeah.
I need to get educated on something.
Right, right. Which is great.
Part of the routine.
Yes. Part of these routines.
Hmm.
So yeah, for nighttime. Um, what do I do at night? I mean, really, that's pretty much it. I try, and as I was reading this thing about like the whole nighttime routine, trying to get rid of blue light after a certain hour or whatever,
Yeah,
I was thinking, like, okay, one thing I have gotten better at, because I used to be like, I'll eat in the middle of the night if I'm hungry and I'm up.
girl.
For real. Sometimes you can catch Brandon at like on any given night. It could be like, I don't know, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., whatever, because we're just night owls in that way.
Yeah.
But I've gotten a little bit more disciplined, I guess, in that sense, just because it's like, okay, well, certain things I would definitely want to get done during the day. And mind you, it's not to say that always at night it was just like a bunch of nonsense going on. Sometimes
Mm,
it's just like I just had a late start, and yeah, at
yeah.
2 a.m. I might just be like thinking of ideas or doing something productive.
Yeah.
But the way that my life is set up now, I'm just like, all right, well, maybe like 12 o'clock, 1 a.m. is now my bedtime. So then
Okay.
I'll stop eating, like, because I eat dinner probably late for some population of the world, it's probably late, but like usually
Yeah.
it's like 8. That's about the time that I eat.
Yeah. I don't
Okay.
think that that's too late.
Okay. Thank
My
you.
parents sometimes they eat at like 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just whenever I'm home, I'm like, guys, like, when are we eating? Like, I'm
Are we
hungry.
gonna
Like,
eat today?
what is going on here?
Right. So 8 o'clock, nine. Yesterday I ate late, but yeah, I try to eat like 8 o'clock. So 2 to 3 hours before I'm going to sleep, like no more food or anything like that.
Yeah.
Try to limit water intake, all of that. And really, it's just a very important thing that I do is like jot down the things that I want to do for tomorrow.
Mm,
And that helps me to get whatever's lingering on my mind that I maybe was still working on, it was in progress, or I didn't get
yeah.
the chance to do. I just put it down on my electronic paper on my iPad.
Okay.
And then I don't think about it because then I go and play Wordle. I'm hanging out with Brandon or whatever, and that's it.
That's a good move. I think I need to incorporate that into my evening routine, which is like I have a whiteboard that's like over there. You can't see it, but I
Yeah.
basically list all the stuff I need to do and also the do by. So I kind of
Mm,
organize it by like, okay, all this stuff has to happen before Saturday at 3 because it's for this, or it's like all of this has to happen
nice.
before Thursday and I have these days to do it
Right.
because it's due this day. So I try instead of just like I'm trying to change it from just like a running long list of
Hmm.
like because I found myself like stressed out when I was putting like little exclamation points next to stuff.
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, remember I've been talking to my friend Lauren and she's really been helping me be like, okay, like let reorganize that. Like how do you do this in a way that like makes it easier to maintain? But I think that
Yeah.
what you're saying about try to get it all out of my head before I
Hmm.
go to bed, like let me go back to the whiteboard and be like, okay, I accomplished X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
This stuff needs to move up. This didn't happen. Let me move it here. That way
Hmm.
I feel like I don't know, like a more of a sense of like calm going into the night and going into
Yeah.
sleep.
Exactly. And for me, it kind of puts those things in a place because
Yeah.
it's just like, it's not just like floating up here, like, oh, gotta
Mm,
remember, gotta remember. It's like, it's there. And then I'll have it for tomorrow
yeah.
to address and, handle or whatever.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
that's
that makes
really, and once I close my iPad, like, it's just like, okay, tomorrow's another day.
sense.
Seriously. So,
Wait,
yeah.
what time are you waking up if you're going to bed around like 1 or 2?
Well, not two. I try to get
1?
in, but like 12, 1.
Okay.
8:30.
Okay. That's I
Yeah.
feel like that makes sense.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I used to call it my magic hour. I was like, how many hours of sleep do I need? It used to be 7, where it's like
okay.
I get 7 hours of sleep, I'm good.
Yeah.
Now it's 8. It's probably like a solid 8.
Yeah. Well, they say,
So,
like, sleep is the most, like, important thing we need, right? Ooh,
oh, she said
Olive.
amen.
Girl, oh my god, she is the, like, cause of my lack of sleep sometimes.
Oh
She will
man.
bark in the morning, and it's,
Yeah.
like, 6 o'clock in the morning, she's, like, barking because someone's, like, walking their dog.
Oh yeah.
Then she climbs up on the bed. I mean, it's so adorable, but it's also
It's
so
cute
annoying.
but annoying, right?
Yeah, so she'll climb up on the bed and, like, get, like, right by my face and then do, like, one
Oh.
paw on my, like, face or on my shoulder, like, whatever's exposed to her, she'll be like this.
Oh, Ellen, that's so
Like this,
cute.
like, "Tit, tit, tit,
Right, like,
tit, tit,
hey.
tit." Yeah, like, wake up like, but when I tell you, it's, like, whatever is exposed, like, if it's just my eye, like, she's you know, because I sleep, like, very cocooned.
Okay.
So, she's
Very
like
cool.
yeah, so she's like, whatever she can get access to,
Whatever
she's like
she, right. She wants to be skin to skin, okay?
literally, but it's not even that, it's like she wants me to get up with her, right?
Oh,
So,
no, Olive.
I get up, I go to the bathroom, like, I come back to the bed, and she's in my spot, curled up.
That is the cutest thing. I love dogs so much. Oh
I love
my
that you love
gosh.
dogs. I love that
Okay,
you
here
love
we go.
dogs. No, I do, I think it's great, I
Oh,
think it's
okay.
so nice.
Oh man, because
I
we know
think that
she
you I
only
think
loves
it's
her dog.
no, exactly, that's what I mean, like, I
Yeah.
think it's great that you, like, all the dogs are like, "Yeah, I love them." I'm just like,
That's
"Ugh."
so cute. My dog is cute.
My
Yes.
dog's the best. My dog is the number 1 dog in the universe.
The dog. The only dog.
The only dog. When you get a dog, then I will extend
No,
it.
no, no. I don't want to
When
hear
you get a
it.
dog well, if you're getting a Cavapoo,
Oh,
then we
yes.
can be on the same page
Then
as
we would
our
be
dogs are the best dogs
absolutely,
because they don't
absolutely.
shed, they're calm and chill because there's the, like, lapdog energy of a
Yes.
Cavalier. Please.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. I think that the routines and it's so funny because it all just comes right back to how we're operating in like a new
Yes. A new space.
functioning way. I met some people
Absolutely.
this weekend. My friend had a baby shower, and so I was just meeting, you know, you just meet like new people you've never met.
Yeah.
And that's what going into the world is like. You meet people you've never met.
She felt like she had to put a disclaimer on that, like you just talk to people.
You know, like when you like, you know, meet another human being and you
Meet
speak to
another
them,
human outside of
that's
the ones you
meeting.
already know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we were talking and like the conversation just kind of came up of like it took me a while and it felt like a long, really long time to like decompress
Hmm.
from that 9 to 5 function of
Yeah.
get up and immediately like we are on the roller coaster of the day. Like it was a lot. And
Yeah.
it, you know, I'm like learning more about like how I operate and like what works best for me. And like the
Hmm.
idea of like 9 to 5ing, like I struggled in grade school, like 8 to 3. I
Hmm.
wasn't a very good student. Not that I wasn't a very, I just really struggled to do well in my classes. I
Okay.
was very chatty, no surprise there.
So was I.
Oh, were
I
you
used to,
really?
what?
Yeah.
I always got reprimanded, especially in like
Really?
grade
I just feel
school.
like you would not get reprimanded.
Oh no, my teachers were always coming to me or talking to my parents. Like my mom always mentions this one time where my teacher, Mrs. Reed, God bless her, I wonder where she is, where she would be like, Aja's a little chatty in class. You got to nip that in the bud. I used to love because I would be honestly, so on my end, I was like bored. So I would
Ah,
just be like, what are we doing? Like, like what's going
yeah.
on, guys? And I would talk. I love to talk and
I know,
play.
same. Oh my god, my teachers used to call me Chatty Cathy.
Yeah.
They would be like, "She's a chatty Cathy," or
She's
I
a
got would get
chatty
called
one.
into the hallway. I mean, Catholic school was intense, so they'd like call you into the hallway,
Oh,
and
oof.
they'd be like,
That's like the
"Stop
principal
talking."
office.
Yeah, literally. Or I would, you know, I just was like, I my my sister and I went to the same grade school, and it was
Yeah.
Catholic school. And one time, the principal, Sister Regina Miriam,
Hmm.
um, sadly, she's no longer with us.
Oh, God bless.
She was like said something to the effect of, and she didn't say this exactly, but that's what my young ears heard. Like,
Okay.
why can't you be good like your sister? Because
Oh,
my sister was very much more like reserved at that age, and she was
okay.
really, really good at school.
Yeah.
Um, and
What
I
a
was like,
terrible thing to say.
yeah, truly.
Right.
Like the traumas that we pick up along the way in childhood are just
Yeah. Right.
it's it is rough out there. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like kids, it's just a rough, rough existence because you're just this
Yes.
little person.
In this
And
wild, big world.
yeah, and like what you said a couple of weeks ago about like we're just parenting young adults or something like you said something to
Oh,
that
yes.
effect.
We're raising adults who are going through childhood.
Going through childhood. Like I think if
Yeah.
everybody like treated kids that way, and I will say, like, I think my mom did a good job of like
Yeah.
always talking to us like full like human beings and adults, age appropriate
Yes. Of
conversations,
course.
but, like, she did do a good job of that, and I feel like that's so important because I'm like, "Hello, if you're telling someone, 'Why aren't you as good as your sister?'" Like, you don't think that that's gonna, like, leave a mark or a scar of some
Right.
kind? Come on, you know? But,
Or
like
she did and just didn't care.
yeah, of course, oh my
Like,
god.
you need to be more like your sister. I
Yeah,
know what I'm saying and I mean
try to
it.
be better.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I mean, that was back in the there was, like, nuns in the school, it was the whole thing.
Wow.
Ugh,
I
yeah,
don't know
but
that
it
life.
was you know, it's, yeah, I just it was hard. Like I just didn't function well, I feel like,
Hmm.
in that timed environment.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and you're just like constantly you're expected to just sit there and consume and you know, and learn and just keep learning. And it was just like you got recess and lunch.
Learn, just keep learning.
But that's
That's
what I
so
mean. Like,
funny.
you know, like you would
Yeah.
change subjects and you're still in the
To
same
no
seat.
real,
You're
exactly.
still in the same classroom. You're still sitting next to the same people. It's the same person up at the front of the room. Like when I was
So
younger,
wild.
until I got to 6th grade, we like
Yeah.
changed classrooms. Literally, it was
Yes.
like across the hall
Right, right.
in the diagonal. It
But that
wasn't
was
like
a big thing. Do
it
you
was a
remember
huge
that?
deal.
Like that was a huge thing to be like, oh wow, you got to go to a different class and
Yeah,
like
we were
a new subject.
upperclassmen.
Yes, because it
Our
marks
uniforms changed.
maturity.
Yeah, our
Oh
uniforms
wow,
were
you had
different.
uniforms like in high school?
No, Catholic school.
Oh, in Catholic school.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was
in
in
sixth grade.
Catholic grade school all the way up till 8th grade,
Okay.
and then I
Gotcha.
went to high school.
All right.
But,
Yeah.
like, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, like, things were starting to change, our uniforms changed, and then we changed classrooms, and, like, the 6th grade teacher
Uh-huh.
was she what did she teach? English, literature. So she
Uh-huh.
was the 6th grade teacher, and then we would all rotate in for, like, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade English and reading.
Okay. All
And then,
right.
like, the 7th grade teacher was the 7th grade teacher, and
Mm-hmm.
then she taught everyone math and science.
Mm.
Science in a Catholic school was we also still took
Interesting.
family life and religious class, so it was just very interesting.
Okay.
Um, and then it was a lot about, like, about plants, I feel like, if I remember correctly, like photosynthesis, chlorophyll, like, all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
And then 8th grade, the teacher was history.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know, we took grammar all the way through, so she taught us grammar, but I think that was more like she taught grammar? I don't know. I don't remember, but it was just like, you know,
Mm.
you're just sitting there, like, expected to, like, receive.
Take in all of this stuff and just
It's
remember
too
everything being
much.
thrown at you. Yeah.
It's too much. I think when I got to high school, I also, like, got better at, like, figuring out how I learn best.
Mm-hmm.
I also got into therapy around that time of, like, you don't have to procrastinate, and then you don't have to have a meltdown and cry at night when it's like, "The paper's due tomorrow." So, that really
Yeah.
helped, but
Praise God.
even though my school, it was still, like, 8 to 3, 8 classes, 9 classes a day, like,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't have block scheduling, but it was, like, every day you did math, every day you did Spanish, like, every day you did every
Okay.
class.
Wow.
But just switching classes, having different teachers for different things, like,
Mm-hmm.
moving between rooms, like, was so helpful to me,
It's great. Yeah.
and I look at it now and I'm like, "Oh, I need resets. I need change of
Change of
pace."
scenery,
Yeah,
pay. Yeah. All of
and then when I
that.
got to college, I was like, "Great.
Yeah. This
That
is
worked
what I've
so
been
well for
looking
me."
for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel like the structure of, like, grade school and high school was to your benefit, or did you feel like it didn't really matter to you?
Um, hmm. I never really thought about it until we're talking right now. Um, I think maybe it did matter to me. Maybe
Mm,
that's a part of the reason, aside from the curriculum, maybe that's a part of the reason why I was bored.
mm.
I will say though, so in fourth, fifth, and sixth grade in elementary school, we had one class. I had the same class, and I mean like same students, same two teachers, same two paraprofessionals, because we were so we were so much like a family. Our
Mm.
teachers like really they developed a love for our class, and they were just like, you know what, we feel like we can do the most good if we kept these students. Like, this is a special group of kids. We want to be with them until it's time for them to go to like middle school. We
Wow.
learned it was a really great experience. Like, we learned sign language and all these different things that other students out in the other classes were not learning.
Wow.
So we had like a different vibe. That so in that regard, for me, it was kind of a different experience.
Mm.
Um, because we were all together for 3 solid years, you know.
Wow.
Um,
So the teachers went with you?
yeah, like yeah, we had the
Oh.
same
So
space
we
for
had the
3 years.
same class
Mm-hmm.
all 8 years,
You mean
but
like your
different
same?
teachers.
Oh,
It was
wait.
one,
How many of you were there?
like, 20 it would oscillate
Oh,
between,
your
like,
class was
25 and
only
27,
like
28.
20, like your class, the
My whole
class of
class
oh.
size at yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, our
It was
class
a
size was much.
really small school.
uh,
It was a
okay.
very small I feel like that's kind of like a thing for Catholic school. It's like a
Mm.
lot of them, I mean, it's now no longer a school.
Oh,
You can't
all right.
really
Well,
function
yeah.
on 1 grade of tuition,
Right. That's
like,
true.
there was only 1 first grade, 1 second grade, but if you look at, like, middle schools and stuff, it's
Wow.
like 3 second grades, 3 3rd grades,
Yeah, yeah.
and then every year it's like you're in with different kids and like you might get a different teacher. You might not get the one you wanted for 4th grade. No,
Mm.
it was you started in 1st grade. Well, I started in 1st grade. They had kindergarten and like
Okay.
your path and your class was set for 8 years.
Wow. Interesting. I've
Yeah.
I've never okay.
Yeah.
See, it was different for ours. Obviously, our class was not the only, class,
Mm.
but
But that
wow,
makes
that's
sense that they
interesting.
were like, "This is working."
Yeah,
If the
yeah,
alternative was maybe you all get split up, you go to a teacher that doesn't work well for you the way you learn, that person
right.
goes to a teacher that doesn't work well for the way they learn. If
Yeah.
you kind of because I have heard of schools that do that, like,
Mm-hmm.
the teachers will move with the kids.
Yeah, I think it was, in hindsight, it was great. I didn't really have any issues with it then either because I loved the people in my class. I loved our teachers, and
Mm,
we had paraprofessionals because we had two students who had like special things that they needed.
yeah.
One was autistic, and the other had some like mental development uh, disabilities, I guess. But
Yeah, yeah.
it was really helpful because then we got to see, like, that's a part of the reason why we got to learn sign language, because we were
Mm.
able to kind of interact with them. In addition to like verbal, we would do certain things that they would respond to better, and we
Oh,
learned
okay.
songs in sign language that we could all do as a
Oh.
class. Like, it was just really really nice. And our teachers were, because we were such a like a family, their sons and everything, like we knew their sons really well,
Aw.
so it was pretty cool. And I still keep in touch with those. And I didn't go, like, I have the experience of going to school for elementary school inner city.
Mm,
But then from 7th grade to 12th grade, I went to school in the suburbs in Granby,
yeah.
Connecticut. So it's not like I saw them from 6th to 7th grade, but I still do keep in touch with them, here and there on like social media and stuff like that.
Wow.
So it built like a bond that I probably wouldn't have gotten if I
Yeah.
had just had those, kids for 6th grade. Maybe one person I would have spoken to. But then
Aw.
after that, everybody moves on. You go to middle school and high school, and you're so different. I don't know these people. You know what I mean? So,
It's so funny. I
so
just had this kid I went well, he's not a kid anymore, he's a grown
he's
adult man.
grown just like you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and then this kid from when I was in school, he DM'd me on Instagram. I guess he, like, follows along with what I'm doing, and he's like, "Oh, I think it's just so great, like, I'm really happy for you," and he was
Oh,
just DMing me, and it was just being like he's like, "Yeah, I'm married, I've got a kid," he's like, "I'm actually back in the town, like, I moved home
wow.
after I had left," and I was like, "Wow, that's incredible." It was just so, like I was like, "Wow, like,
We
you"
really grew up.
like yeah, like, we all grew up, and it's funny 'cause
Right?
me and Jess,
Uh-huh.
which is, like, my best friend from St. Joe's time, she
Oh,
lives
she went to
here.
Catholic, obviously. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so Jess and I became friends at St. Joe's, so
Uh-huh.
like, we did go to the same, like, like, this our high schools were connected, but we
Okay.
weren't on the same campuses,
Okay.
but so, yeah, so our, like, original friendship started at St. Joe's, so she's the only person I can, like well, I guess her and my sister, and then my sister's best friend
Your sister.
yeah, my sister's best friend, Danielle, also
Uh-huh.
went to St. Joe. So, like, those are the
Okay.
only people I can, like, reach out to and be like, "Do you remember?" Or, like, "Did this happen?"
Right,
Like,
right.
am I, like, remembering this wrong? Or
I know.
oh,
That's really cool.
I need to, like, sit with Jess and be like, we need to, like, go
Just have a
through
whole, yes.
our memories.
I need to do that with my cousin because he and I were in the same class.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, my cousin
Oh,
Steven. And be like, yo, you remember when
we had a
XYZ?
lot of that in my grade. There was, like, the Flores, like, there was 3 guys, 3
Mm-hmm.
kids, the Flores cousins, brothers. It
Okay.
The way that it was, like, 2 of them were cousins, and then one of them was technically their uncle based on just,
Oh,
like, the age of when people had kids and whatever.
yeah.
And that was always, like, it was oh god, I can't remember all of their names, but yeah, the Floreses.
The
Yeah, they
Floreses.
were they were all they were all related, and they were all in the same our class.
Wow.
All 3. It was so funny.
Oh man. But
Yeah, it was
yeah, I enjoyed that. It was a different experience, and we felt special because like no
mm,
other student or class had that type of thing where like your teachers aren't fighting for y'all.
Yeah.
but they're fighting for us. So
Oh,
that was really nice. And then I thought, I think as does every kid, I suppose. I don't know if they do now, but I thought it was huge to like change classes and, in
it
middle school
was.
and
It was
high
a huge
school.
deal.
Yeah, I love that. Being able, it felt like you had some type of autonomy, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm leaving for my math class and I know I need to go to room 208 for my history class. You know what I mean? So that felt cool. It was like a little bit of independence, if you
Yeah.
will.
Oh,
Um,
I
and you can
remember
meet at
going.
your locker in between
Yes.
classes. Like
Yes,
that was
getting your
dope.
locker in high school. Do you
Yes.
remember, like, having to have a lock?
I loved it. Yeah.
That was, like,
Well,
I'll never forget the having the lock,
ours
and
were
we
built
were.
in. Did you have
Oh,
a?
really? No, we had to bring
Yeah.
our own.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and I remember mine was blue.
Okay.
I don't even know. I feel like I might remember the code if I kinda sat with it for a while, but we are all alphabetical. Everything
Okay.
everywhere there
Of
was different
course.
hallways that was, like, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior,
Yep.
whatever, but we were
Uh-huh.
all alphabetical. Didn't people would, like, decorate each other's lockers for
Yes.
birthdays and stuff, yeah.
Ah,
It's like a
lockers.
whole
You have
thing.
to put your whole life in this little thing for the
Yeah,
day.
literally, and, like, the inside, you're like, "Let me put a mirror, let me put this little hanging thing,
Right,
put some
right.
magnets, like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna
Oh man.
personalize it?" That
Kids,
was
if
so.
you're still in school, tell us if this is a thing.
Yeah, like, do they still do that or they
Do
just
we
don't
still have
care?
lockers in school? I don't even know.
I don't even know,
Oof.
and it's like you used to it was just so many damn textbooks back then. Oh my god, and
Girl,
the locker you used to have to get, like, partitions that you would put into the locker because there was only, like, one divider at the very top,
that's
and then
it,
it was
right.
just totally open on the bottom.
Did
So
you
we
have
wound up.
one long one or did you have like
Yeah,
the
one
half
long
locker?
one.
Okay. All right.
Like, the,
Yeah.
like, kinda in, like, a high school movie someone could get pushed into.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, literally, I remember I remember vividly, like, one time with a friend being like, "I bet I could get inside the locker."
Right. I could fit. I could
I
definitely
literally
fit.
literally, I was like, "I'm only 5'2",
I mean, and
and
they had the vent holes,
yeah, I was like,
so
"Let's just like, let me just
I
try,
can
like,
breathe.
don't close it, but let me just, like, step into it," you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my
They were always, like,
gosh.
coming around and, like, cutting the bolts off of like, the locks off of lockers for some reason or another. It was a whole
Somebody
thing.
was being bad, right.
Yeah, yeah,
And
my
then
s
I think in middle school in high school we had the full length ones, I'm pretty
okay.
sure. And then in middle school I think we had the half ones. And it sucked if you were on the bottom part because then you're
Oh
like,
god.
you know,
Yeah, crouching down.
yeah, terrible for your back.
No, 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 no,
But
no. That's
no, no, no.
funny. That is so funny, the lockers.
That
Oh my god. I
is.
still remember the feeling, and I'm curious if you can relate to this feeling, when you
Mhm.
go somewhere for the first time and you feel, like, disoriented of,
Mhm.
like, where is everything? Like, my first
Yeah.
time freshman year, first day, like,
Mhm.
I was so turned around in this school. I didn't know what was left and right. I didn't now looking back,
Right.
I'm like, it was a square. It was a square, and it had an inner, like a smaller square, and
You
then a
should
bigger
not have gotten
square,
lost.
and then, like, a bigger but they, like, interconnected weirdly. Like,
Okay.
like, when you draw a 3D box, like, when you're a kid and you draw, like, the 3D box,
Yes.
and, like, it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense until it does?
Yeah.
Like, that's what the school looked like. It was like this square, but then this overlapped this way,
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know? And
Yes.
then there was, like,
I
stuff
do.
in this yeah. I was so I'll never forget, I was so lost, and now I look back and I'm like,
What was I lost
wow.
about?
It was a really small school. It was really small. There was only, like, 160 kids in my class,
Okay. In your
and that was
class, but not in
I
the school.
in my grade, yeah, but so times 4, it's really not that big group of people.
I know, but I guess here in Jersey, like they have, and also too, like in parts of Hartford, I'm sure the school size was large. But like where I went to school, it was, I don't know if we probably had 120 people
Okay,
in
so you
our,
had a similar high
yeah,
school size.
exactly.
Okay.
Right. But I didn't think it was small, until I
No, me
talked to
either. I was
Brandon
like, "I
and
don't
he
even
was
know all
like,
these people."
exactly. I don't know
It was only
everybody.
160.
And Brandon, he's like, oh, we had like 1,200 people. And I'm like, that's a college. What is,
Like,
what is this?
that's insane.
It's crazy,
But just, like, that
legit.
feeling of, like, not knowing the area
Hmm.
at all, like, you don't know the layout, you're totally lost, and then, like, eventually it's
Now
like
you got to go to your other
the
class.
back of
Like,
your hand, you know it.
Yes, absolutely.
I feel that way about living here. Like, I remember the very
Mhm.
first time I ever drove onto this property for the apartment,
Yeah.
and I, like, was looking, and it's like you can drive on, but you can't drive through. It's just, like, 3 entrances, but you can't drive around the complex.
Okay.
Um, and I was just like, "Oh, wow, there's water and whatever." And now I'm like, I can't believe that's where I drove to. Like, I can see it so clearly.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, "This is my home, and I live at the beach, and I'm down the street, and I never would have known about this place if I wasn't, like, just
Right.
driving around aimlessly." And now it's like,
Exploring.
"This is my
Mhm.
home."
Yeah,
And I was,
that's
like, so
true.
confused, and it's not confusing. It's a big triangle.
That's
Yeah,
not.
where I live is, like, literally like a triangle like this,
Okay.
kind of,
Oh,
sort of
wow.
like that.
Yeah. But of course, like you said, when you first, get to a place or whatever and you're not familiar, it's just like, wait, what? Where's what?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, that's
Oh my
really
gosh. And then
wow.
you did that, but you did it in China with in another language.
Right,
What?
exactly.
How?
What?
How did you
By
do it?
myself,
No, I
Lord.
know. I'm like, I'm
Oof.
here in LA. I already had 2 really good friends,
Yeah.
and it's all in English for the most part.
And everything's in English. I know. It's pretty wild. That was just excitement. It was just like,
Mm.
I want to go anywhere, whatever. Oh, hey, Alice.
Olive's like, "I wanna go too."
Yes, she does. So yeah, it was just like, and then you could explore outside of like the hotel or whatever. And I got to be super familiar with that neighborhood. And
Yeah,
even Hong Kong is not huge
okay.
considering, you know what I mean? So like navigating the subway and stuff like that,
Mm.
it just became so like, oh, on this street,
Oh my
blah
god,
blah
the
blah.
subway.
Yeah, so nice.
Oh, is
Oh my
it
gosh. What? Yes.
compared to New
And
York? I feel like my a
no, no,
lot is
no.
better than
New
New York.
York, what is New York subway system?
I don't even
What is it?
can I tell you, I
Everything is nicer
literally
than New York.
by the time I left New York, I was able to, like, take subways and know where I was going. I by no means am, like, a master of, like, the outside of Manhattan subways, but, like,
Okay.
like, I know how to get
Yeah.
to the closest outer areas of where I'm going, but, like, truly. But I remember back in the day, there wasn't even subways on, like, maps on your phone. So there
Oof.
was an app you had to download that was like a third party, someone just made it, and it was like NYC to go or something, and it would
Really?
tell you it was like a map of the subway system, and it would tell you, like,
Okay.
the schedule that it ran on, and it, like, would update sort of. I'm like, "I whatever." So
Oh
that's
boy.
how long ago, like, I was in the city when, like, the Apple Maps on your phone did not include the subway.
It did not include the
No, and, like,
subway.
it was like, I don't know how to get where I'm going, or, like, you would
Right.
try, sometimes you'd wind up somewhere that you didn't intend to be,
Oof.
like but then by
Yikes.
the end, I was just talking to someone this weekend when I met new people, and
Yes.
they're everyone is ex-New Yorkers, everyone is LA transplants from
Mm.
New York.
Mhm.
It's so funny, I feel like everybody I know is from New York.
Left
That I
from
know
New
in
York.
LA is
Yeah.
everyone's from New York, um,
Wow.
except for, like, a
No
couple
one.
people. Like, literally no.
Except for no one.
Like, literally, like, a handful of people are, like, not from New York,
Okay.
or, like, came to LA via New York, and
Yeah.
everyone was just like, "Oh, yeah," like, "Oh, where did you live?" "Oh, like, off the J or off this," and I'm just like, "I know what that
I
is."
know all
You know
of
how to
these.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, I can't remember what train I was taking when I was going up there." I was like, "Oh, it was probably the 6th." They're like, "Oh, yeah, you're right, it was the 6th." Da, da, da. I'm like,
Oh my god.
Local. 'Cause, when I was in high school, I was
Oh
not taking the
gosh.
New York subway, okay? I
Right,
was not
right.
taking the subway until
No.
I was like, working in Manhattan.
Yeah, yeah. And
I think the first time I
I
took the
don't
subway, I was
I don't
into the city to interview for a job at Cumulus Radio, which
okay.
was above Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
So I go in, I'm, like, interviewing for a job in radio ad sales.
Okay.
This was before, obviously, I got the job at Style, Condé,
Mhm.
and I will never forget. So I go, like, do, like, the interview, whatever. Okay, cool, come back. Okay, I come back. I'm like, it's a pretty, like, it's like it was just, like, a very, like, hustle bustle location. I had obviously had been to MSG before, but, like, it was just a lot. So
Yeah.
I get there, I go upstairs, and it's like basically like an all day long, many interviews and some shadowing of like other people on the sales team.
Yeah.
And I had to go with this guy on a sales call for the radio station. Now, the radio stations were making sales calls to like Sansone Auto Mall, you know? Like 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 the big car dealerships
Okay.
in
Why?
Queens, you
All
know,
right.
like something something on Arthur Avenue in the Bronx. Like, you know, like those ads? Like that's what I'm
Oh,
talking
how can we
about.
forget them? Yes, yes.
Exactly. So I
Okay.
go with this man into the depths of the subway. I'd never have taken the subway before. He's like,
Oh
"Oh yeah,
my
just grab your Metro
gosh.
card." I'm like, "Bro, I don't have one. Like, I'm not from here."
Right, right.
I have to get a
I'm not
Metro
from here.
card. We get on the F, which like I don't think
I
I
don't
ever
know what
took
that
the F
means.
ever
You're just
again.
saying, okay,
Literally.
okay.
We go to like Timbuktu in Queens, so far
Oof.
away. I go into this heinous car dealership, like through an industrial area, traipsing with this little skinny white guy. I'm like, who are you? Like, where are we?
In your business suit,
In my
probably.
business attire, my freaking heels.
And heels.
And we go up into this like auto mall type place, you know, like one of those like lots of cars for sale.
Yeah, yeah.
We go in, and the guy is like talking to the manager, owner, whatever, to like pitch him on sales stuff. And the guy would like looked at me and he was just like, "Is this your shadow for the day? How's it going, shadow?" Like that. Like made me so
I can't.
uncomfortable. He made me
What?
so uncomfortable because he like looked me up and down because I had on like a cute little blouse and cute little
Right,
pants.
right,
And I was like,
right.
you know,
Yikes.
and I was so uncomfortable. I was like, I will never, I was offered the job and I said, absolutely not. I was like, I'll never work in sales. I will never, ever work in
Look
this
at
type of
the
position.
evolution of of the career path.
Well, then I went and worked adjacent to sales.
Uh-huh.
I went
But
and
it was
worked,
still an evolution.
yeah. But I was like, I'll never do that. I'll never go and be in a
Oof.
position where this type of person who's really scummy and made me uncomfortable
Yeah.
had something I wanted,
Mhm.
the deal, the money, and
Yeah.
could use that to manipulate
Mm.
me. I could feel it in that moment how
Yeah.
I could potentially be uncomfortable and compromised, and I was like, "I don't wanna be a part of this."
Right, 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 right.
And that was the first time I took the subway.
And that was the first time.
It was the first day I took the and that's why
That's interesting.
I will
I don't
never forget
remember.
that whole day because of that
Well, because of
interaction.
how that guy made you feel and
Yeah.
you were I don't remember the very first time I ever took a subway, and I still don't know how to operate the subway unless Google Maps is
Unless it's in China.
helping me. Yeah. No, seriously, because it makes sense. Um, and it's clean and it's
Yeah.
sanitary and it's just nice. It's air
Yeah, New York
conditioned.
is like
Gosh, the
the
subway, I
fact that
just
the station beneath underground isn't air conditioned, so, like, you're standing I'll never forget, like, the heat
it's
of the summer,
sweltering
you're
hot.
standing there, it's, like, midnight, and it's still sweltering hot. I was standing there I took a picture of my face, literally, like, my whole
Shine.
face, individual sweats of bead on my whole face.
Oh,
It was heinous because if I touched my face I had makeup, so if I touched my face, it would've been a mess.
oh,
So
of
I'm just
course.
standing there, like,
Trying not
praying
to
that
like
that the sweat beads don't drip down. Just like, please don't move, wait till you get on the subway."
Oh my goodness. It's terrible. And
Sweaty,
that lucky moment when you get on a subway and it has like air conditioning and it's like, oh
like
gosh, it's like,
cold, cold.
oh, cold. You
Oof.
need it. And then the other bad part about the subway is that in the summer, you'll get on there and it could smell so bad because it's
Ugh,
hot and it's just
yeah,
like, oh gosh, I can't.
yeah.
I
Oh
don't
my
do the subway. If I can help it, I'm good on it.
I
So
really wish LA had a much better functioning metro system.
it needs to, as much traffic as they have, I'm surprised. But it might be something with the land and y'all be having earthquakes, so maybe
They're
not.
working on it. There's, like, an above ground metro system they're putting, like, billions of
Oh,
dollars into, and there is, like, a metro system, but it's
uh-huh.
like
But it's just
a
not.
single line that goes, like, to the west side to the east side. And I'm sure there's like some offshoots or whatever, but it's like
Yeah, but it's very
it's not like
basic.
there's like a stop in my town, a stop in this town, a stop in the next town. It's like
Yeah.
even the buses. I took the bus here once
Mhm.
and you couldn't pay with Apple Pay.
What?
Yeah, so I had to download the
Since
LA.
you've gotten there?
Yes.
Oh man,
I
they're
know. I'm like,
behind.
guys, this is like part of the problem is like you're not even modernizing what currently exists.
Thank
Because
you.
if you modernize the bus system and it was like just pop on, pop off with your Apple Pay, people would be more likely to do it because no one walks in LA. It's
Right.
unheard of to walk
First of all, where are you walking? Like things are too far in between.
like
And
they're very everything's very
yeah,
spread out. Like,
yeah.
it's like to go, in New York, it's like, yeah, okay, whatever. It takes 15-20 minutes to get where I'm going. Like,
Right,
cool,
right.
I'll walk, or like I'll take a
Everybody's
subway and
walking.
then walk the rest
Mhm.
of the way. That it
Yeah.
is not the case here, you know?
Interesting.
So I'm like, if you
Yeah.
just updated the system for the buses and everyone could just Apple Pay, there'd be no barrier to
Right,
taking the
to
bus.
using the service. Exactly. That's
Has
why the first time I used Google Wallet
Ooh,
was for the subway. That was
yeah,
just last year. I wasn't yet privy to the whole like tap to pay thing.
yeah.
And I was like, dang, I don't have a Metro card. Like we had to take the subway because I was with a friend. And he was like, oh, just use your phone. And I was like, what? So I had to like download the Google Wallet, upload my card. Now, if they don't have Google Pay, I'm like, what are we doing?
No,
Why are y'all not? Who
how
wants to take
often
out their wallet?
how often I leave the house without a credit card, without my license, like if I'm walking, like if I'm going to the
Yeah,
farmer's market, I just me and my phone and my keys and Olive. Like
that's it.
I,
I have
everything
everything I
I need.
need.
Everything I need is on my phone. That's also why
Everything
the
I
whole
need
not having the internet has like really
is a
thrown me for a
problem, which
loop.
is why we should hold Verizon and Spectrum and T-Mobile and all these people to a higher standard. They can't mess up because when you mess up, the
1,000%.
world crashes. Like
Hashtag too big to
it's not
fail, you know?
too big to fail. Okay, we pay
What
y'all on time
movie
every time.
what was that movie that
Cannot
just
fail.
came out with, um who was in it? Who was in it?
You
The
got to
lo
tell me something.
I have to tell you anything. Anything to
Oh,
go off of.
it's a movie.
It was Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, and then
Oh
Chweat
yes,
I butchered his
Mahershala
name.
Mashallah
Oh,
Ali.
Mahershala Ali.
Mahershala, yes.
He's a good-looking man.
What is that movie called? I loved
I
it though.
watched it with my
Loved
parents
it.
5 times throughout the
It's
movie.
so good.
No, I watched it once, 5 times throughout the movie. I said, "Wait, what's this called again?" I can't remember. It literally is like the Mandela effect or something. Like
Yes.
it will not stay in my brain.
No, but what is it called?
All things fall. I don't know.
No, I'm
Don't
about to
look
find it
up.
out right now.
Don't
Hold
look up.
on.
I watched that one
No,
too.
that's
Don't
not
look
it.
up. No, it's
Mahashala. Okay. Leave the world behind.
Leave the World Behind.
That's it.
Too long of a name for a movie. They should have been a
Okay.
one word. Should have
Leave
been a
the
one
world
word.
behind. It's only 4 words. Okay.
Leave the world behind.
Planet
5
of the Apes.
syllables.
It's the same.
Planet of the Apes has 50,000 movies. You're never going to forget it. They have 150 different movies out in the world. It's like King Kong and Godzilla. Let's just keep doing what we
Oh
do.
gosh, right.
I
It works. It
cannot.
ain't broke, don't fix it.
Leave the world behind. Okay.
Mhm.
I watched that and
Yes.
like talking about like the internet and infrastructure and communication. That was like you saw the movie,
Oh
right?
yes, I saw
Yeah.
it.
So
Yeah.
like that was like it was actually so concerning how
Absolutely.
if the telecommunications went out, that would be it.
Everything is done.
Done. Done.
It's crazy.
If we
It's
cannot
so
communicate, we don't
crazy.
have Wi-Fi, we don't have anything.
Everything goes to crap. People get misinformed.
Yep.
You can't reach anybody. These Teslas start crashing into each other. Like, oh gosh, these cars that could drive themselves will drive themselves. Okay.
Please.
And it, it was
Insanity.
scary, but like so real,
Yeah, that's a
you know?
100%. It was the fact that it was like the the fastest way to like collapse a society is like those steps that they were doing, like mass confusion.
Yes.
I was like, dang,
Oof.
dang, dang.
So, oof.
Like the animals were starting to freak out, the sound wave, like
Yes.
it was like that. I was like, whoa,
That was
Whoa,
insane.
whoa, whoa.
Right. Pretty scary.
Oh, oh my God, that scares me. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about when my Wi-Fi goes out.
About how I can't function. And like simple things. Like we can't, if your phone dies, do you remember numbers? Like I know my mom, my
Yeah.
dad, my
Yeah.
sister Brandon.
Aja, you would never hear from me again.
That's it.
I'm sorry. You're
You
literally
wouldn't
one
hear
of
from
my
me.
oldest friends. We've been friends for like over a decade. You would never hear
And
from me.
I would not know what happened to Ellen because I would just be like, I think it started with a 201. That's all I got.
No, literally, I'd be like 860 something something
It's
something. I got nothing else.
da, 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 da.
Literally
I don't know what.
not a clue. Aja, I
Not
don't
a
have a
clue.
clue what the
I
next
don't know
number
the
would be.
first number
No, literally, I have
of
no
your
idea.
first. I don't. I really
After we
don't.
get past our area codes, I got nothing.
I would be better off trying to get to you. I would be better off getting on a plane and being like, okay, well, I know she's in this general vicinity, and I'm gonna find her.
It
Yep.
just gets off an LAX and just like, do you know Ellen? Do you know
Right.
Ellen? Do you know Ellen?
She's a girl. She does these like content things where she like
Which are
rewatches.
completely gone now because the internet and communication is
Oh,
is gone.
oh, right. Oh my gosh. Well, I would just be like, okay, she's near the beach.
You're like zeroing in. You're like,
Just
where is
the
she?
process of elimination, legit.
You would be more likely to
Uh,
be able to get in contact with my parents because you guys are near
oh,
each
I know
other.
where they are. I know
Yeah,
where they are. Yes.
I know where they are.
I would go right to their house.
Yeah, you can go to Nani's. They'll probably all go to Nani's house. Everyone will be
Yes.
there.
My goodness.
That is so scary. I
It's
mean,
wild. I try sometimes. I try to like, I'll see a number and be like, oh, okay, like that's kind of easy to remember, but nope.
not a clue. I mean, I even have a
It's
hard time with
wild.
names in my phone sometimes. I'm like, who is that?
I have to put notes.
Yes.
Sometimes, like, if you're not a person that I'm like, that I spent considerable time with, or
Yeah.
we met once and maybe I'll
Yeah.
connect you next year, like, met so and so at this, like, has a dog. That's why we connected. Like,
No, literally, anyone I've met through having a dog, it's like Susan, Pepper's mom.
yeah.
I swear to God, that's it. There's more than you want to know in my
Oh
phone
my
right now.
gosh.
My
Right,
friend,
right.
Leanne from college, when
Mm-hmm.
I met her now husband and father of her child,
Okay.
he is to this day still in my phone as Josh Leanne's
Leanne's.
BF. Because I met
I
him
love
like
it.
when they first started dating or whatever. And
Yeah.
he saved me in his phone. And I think I'm still like this in his phone. Ellen, Leanne's
Leanne's
friend.
friend. Because at the essence of it all.
That's what it
Yes.
is.
Yes.
I'm like,
Right.
literally, I'm like, I was in your wedding.
Right.
you,
But
you literally are the father of one of my best friend's children. And we're still to
oh
this
my
day, that's what it is.
gosh. That's so funny. But
Isn't
yeah,
that so wild?
it is pretty wild. And are you one of those people? Let me ask you this, since we're talking about phones. Are you one of those people who puts like everything in the phone? Like, so I have you in my phone.
Uh-huh.
I have your birthday, obviously. I have your address. I
Yeah.
have, well, that's pretty much it. Maybe I have an email. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like some people, it is so mind boggling to me when a person like our age or whatever is like, oh, what's your address again? It's like, girl, I didn't move. Put it in the contact.
Oh my God. You know what? You're so
Use
right.
your
And
contacts.
I'm going to triple check right now. Let me see. You're still, like I said, you're still in here as Aja Wilson.
Right. And you're still Ellen Roomy.
I have your birthday.
Mm-hmm.
I have your current home and your previous address still.
Wait, let me see if I have Ellen Roomy with 2 exclamation points. Doesn't make me anxious. I have your parents. When you moved, I put, that's the parents' address now. Okay.
Aww.
And then I have now your new one and your B-Day.
Okay.
I don't have any emails in here for you.
I have a Yahoo email for you in here.
It's still valid. I still use it. Yes. I still have 2 Yahoos.
I feel like that's not what I used to email with you.
You shouldn't.
Okay, I should change it.
Yeah, you should change it. But it is an
Okay.
email that I have and like use.
Oh, that's your phone number. Okay.
Yeah, let me see yours now that we're
You know
looking,
what? This
because
would not
just
be that
in
hard to
case.
remember.
Yours isn't hard to remember either.
My sister and I, our phone numbers are only different by 2 numbers. So
Hmm.
I can remember hers, no problem.
Okay.
So I know my parents, I know my sister, I know my nanny, I know
Yeah.
my house phone, my
I
parents'
know
house
my,
phone.
yeah. Yep, yep, same. Oh, your parents still have a house phone too? So do
Yeah,
my parents. And I know
I
that number. I know
yes,
it.
that's the first. You know what? That number, when I was little, we didn't do area codes back in the day.
Of
So
course.
it was just the
The
first 3 and the last
seven.
4. Yeah, the
Yeah,
7.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
eventually we had to add in the area code.
You know what? I'm lying. I actually know more numbers than I'm claiming. I
Okay.
know my auntie Renetta. I know my uncle John. I know my uncle Ron. My
You
cousin
do?
Mika. I know my auntie Tina. Their
No.
cell numbers, house numbers for the ones who have it. I know my auntie
Okay.
Carolyn, my uncle Curtis.
I just looked up my
Hmm.
Aunt Grace's home phone number
You knew
and
it.
I knew it. If I had
Okay.
sat here and really sat here for a second, yeah, I knew her post because I think I used to call their house a lot when I was little. But
The
then we all
cool
got cell
auntie.
phone. Well, yeah, oh yeah, for sure. That's my
Yeah.
Aunt Grace.
Yes, she is. She's so cool. This is okay. So we got, at least we have
We're
a group
not
of
completely.
people that that we would be able to communicate with. My brothers, I don't know his. Michael, I'm sorry.
Last thing about phone numbers, and then
Okay.
everyone can come back to the 2020s because
Yes.
and not have a phone number, period, and we'll just make our Wi-Fi calls.
Thank you.
Um, my uncle, we do like family Christmas tree cutting every year,
Hmm.
and it's like a tradition.
Yeah.
And one year they were like, "Oh, let's do like ugly Christmas sweaters or whatever."
Okay.
And my one uncle, who is the eldest of the men on my dad's side, definitely did not know what his shirt meant.
Oh
It was
gosh.
Santa, and it said, uh, "I've got ho ho hos in different area codes."
Okay. Best Christmas sweater.
He had no clue. He didn't know what it was.
Oh
And I think he
man.
was just like, "Oh, that's original."
Right. Never seen that one before.
Exactly. He's like, "Oh my god, area codes." Like,
How
haha,
innocent.
the
I
olden
love it.
times.
I've got ho ho hos. Mm.
Literally. Isn't that so silly?
That is funny.
I think I like made a
Wow.
TikTok to that song of him
Did
at the
you?
yeah, at the Christmas tree farm.
Oh my goodness. The
So
Christmas tree farm.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
All
Well,
right. Well, on that note,
on that note,
everyone go memorize a phone number.
of at least 2 to 3 friends.
Go memorize some
How
new
about
phone numbers.
start with one? Start
I
with
don't
one.
know a single person in LA's phone number by heart, and that's a
And
problem.
that's where you are, right?
That's dangerous, actually. I
That's
should memorize
dangerous.
at least Jess and Alex's. Like, come on.
Absolutely. Right,
Oh
right.
God, I'm
You need
supposed to see
to.
Jess tonight,
She
but
says, oh my God.
I'm like concerned. I'm like, Olive, we don't know
Right. If
anyone's phone
anything
number.
happened in LA, all you'll be doing is calling everybody on the East Coast. Like, girl, we are 3,000 miles away.
Literally, I had to put an emergency contact on something, and I was like going to put my mom because it's always my mom, and then
Of
I was like,
course. Hmm.
no,
She can't get here fast enough.
not someone that should be my emergency contact when I live across the country.
Right. And I need help in this instant, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was like I will put down
Uh,
my best friend who is an emergency
gosh.
doctor.
There
I
we
feel like that's
go.
the appropriate person.
That's appropriate.
Her and her also doctor husband, they can take care of me.
One of them can absolutely.
Yeah. One of you guys can be the ones
Oh,
to come to the
man.
hospital and figure out what the fuck is wrong.
And call my mom and dad, please.
Yeah, call my
Thanks.
mom, basically. Just call my mom. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my god, that's so funny. Wow, I can't
Oh,
believe the phone
man.
numbers. Well,
That's
here's
crazy.
hoping that Spectrum like fixes the issue and we don't
Yes.
have any more Wi-Fi problems, but
We
also
did good today.
yes, we did really good.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you to the Lord. Thank you to
Yes.
the Wi-Fi Lord. Thank you to Spectrum. Thank you to It made me think of
That's
Kiki
it.
Palmer. I don't know this man.
I am sorry to
I
this
can
man.
never stop quoting Kiki Palmer. I freaking love her.
She's amazing. I really, really love her.
Thanks, everybody, for
Yes.
watching this
Yes.
episode of the Regents podcast brought to you by your hosts, Ellen Paleo.
And Aja Moye.
And you can find us on social media everywhere at the Regents podcast, or you can find Aja at
Aja Moye Music. That's AJAMOYE Music.
or you
Or
can find
Ellen
me,
at.
Ellen with a Y, ELLYNWITHAY.
All right.
All right,
Thank
bye.
y'all. Bye.
The Regents podcast. The Regents podcast.